Hello, it's Brian from Roboticy again, and today I'm going to show you how to set up and assemble the ESRA3 arm set. So you should end up with the parts if you ordered a kit similar to this. Sometimes we've shipped them with the hex nut drives or screws in here. Sometimes they're shipped with these. It sort of depends whether or not it's coming with a kit that includes an Allen wrench or not. Generally, though, they come with the Phillips head screws. And you should have all these parts. You should have 2 forearms, 2 hand units, a foot unit, a back plate, and 4 servos. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get these pieces out of the way for the moment. The servos, these are all set. The servos, you need to make sure you remove the hub, the round hub, set the screw aside. And then, I know you're not supposed to do this technically, just be careful, do it slowly, don't go jamming it really fast. You want to rotate it all the way, say counterclockwise. And then you're going to put this hub on so that it's slightly tilted down. See how it's not quite straight across, it's not quite perpendicular to this edge? That's because if I rotate it now all the way clockwise, it's going to get to another position where it's slightly down. So now we've got it pretty close to center. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now rotate this up so that you are facing forward. So now the center of the servo is basically pushing this direction. And I'm going to set that screw back in there just so I don't lose it. Alright, the pieces. The hands, notice it has these little square hubs. These square hubs fit perfectly around these square hubs on this thing. Square holes, I should say. And the forearms also have the same square holes which fit around it. What you want to do, you can do this a couple different ways, and I've seen it done several ways on different people. The way I like to do it is I like to have, you're always going to have the square hole toward the robot, okay, to attach to the servo. Now, you don't have to do it the way I'm going to describe it. This is the way that I like to do it. I like to have it so that this cutout will ultimately be facing down, okay, like this. Like I said, you can do it facing up if you want an arm that reaches up higher. I like it going down. Right. The hands, so let's look at just one side and move these aside. They're not identical, they are slightly different, and you know, when I hold my hands out, my thumbs are toward the middle, so it makes sense that you'd want to do that with your robot, I would think, so have the thumbs toward the middle. So if I have this facing down, so my servo is going to be facing down, that means this piece will be facing up, okay, because the servo is going to be attaching to it, which means that I need to have this arm so that the thumb will be facing inward if this is the shoulder. Okay? Does that sort of make sense? I hope so. So let's start with actually assembling one of these. Okay? I'm going to take this screw, set it aside. And again, I've seen this done a couple different ways too. Most of the robots, you can have the servo actually more on the inside than on the outside. This is being the outside, right? Because this hub's sort of center. I can do it like this just fine. Okay, you're only going to use 2 holes to attach it, but I'm going to do it like this. This generally works, gives plenty of room for rotation of for example, the ESRA3. Stand it up. You're going to need a small washer, and you're going to need 1 screw. So let's put this together really quickly here. Whoops, look at me. I'm about to put this. Make sure that the hub, okay, is furthest out. So it's closest to the edge. And let's set one of these in. Get it started. Again, I never tighten them down until I actually have both of them or all of them started. Gives you that little bit of play. Okay. Remember, we had this servo set up so it was centered. So now I'm going to set this on so it is straight up. It actually can be just as well this way. You just want to make sure that you're perpendicular or parallel, perpendicular to the side or parallel to the top. And the arm is literally just going to go on here like this. Okay? And then I'm going to use one of the small servo screws to attach that. Okay, so now I've assembled one arm, and you can see I can rotate it all the way in. This would be painful if it was real life, but I can extend the arm all the way back. Okay, and you can imagine we can have a shoulder going up and down like this. Not to take too much time, I'm only going to assemble one side. Okay, so we have the feet. We're going to need this piece, the feet, and a servo. Now, whoops, I dropped a piece. Oh, I've lost my soul. There it is. It's okay. Depending on what robot you're going to have, sometimes it's necessary to attach this plate first. So if your robot is going to be extending up from here, it's useful to attach this plate to your robot and then build from it. So in this case, I don't need to. What's going to ultimately happen is this hole is for the wiring to slide through, like so. And again, to keep this quick, I'm going to use a minimal number of screws. This goes like this. You are going to use all 4 screws. I'm just going to quickly put this together with 2. Just enough to demonstrate how it works. Alright, this is going to go like this. Alright, just like that. And this plate, which can hold your electron. Oh, I put that on backwards. What a silly guy. You'll see what I mean in a second. This one's an older unit. It's one that I've been using. Now both sides of these drilled. I forgot to put these holes facing the back. Like this. Okay, and then this plate simply attaches. You don't need to use washers for this. Again, I'm going to use only 2 screws to hold it together. You would probably want to use 4. Maybe what I'll do is I'll try to end this video in the next 90 seconds. And if you want to, I'll assemble the whole thing. You can watch the whole video. Okay? It goes pretty quick. Now, again, remember this is already centered. Alright, so if I put this straight up, it means it's going to be able to go all the way down and painfully all the way back. But that gives you an idea. So all I have to do is have it set like this. And then I'm going to use a small servo screw that came with the servo. And I'm going to attach it like this. And there you go. Okay, so that is how it assembles. So you can end it here, or if you want, I'm going to assemble the other side. So let's just do it. Alright, I've got these 2 pieces. I'm going to use this servo here. I'm going to have it on the inside. Okay, so it's going to be toward the body. I need 2 screws and washers for that purpose. Okay. Remember, my servo is already centered, so I'm going to have this thing facing straight out, and I'm going to use the servo screw to put it in. Okay, just like so. And then I have this servo, and this servo is ultimately going to go on this shoulder. So I'm going to feed this through. Alright. Like that. Let's get those wires out of the way. And we need a screw and a washer. And another screw and another washer. Alright, and remember, the servo's already centered. I know it, so I want it to go straight up. Put the screw in, like this, and there we go. Goes all the way back, all the way down. Get these wires out of the way, and you can see that you now have the shoulder and arm mechanism fully assembled and ready to go. You are going to put in 4 screws. I only put in 2. So 2 more screws on this, 2 more screws on the back plate, your electronics on the back, and you should be set. Keep in mind, these servos can be flipped to the outside, so they can be extending out over here if you need more width inside of here to clear a robot's face or whatever. You can even play around a little bit. I have one that's sitting over here where the servos are actually upside down. This one has the hub way down here because I've actually built a little base down at the bottom to extend it out, so that way he's got a little bit more of a shoulder on him. So there's a lot to play with, and I hope that was useful, and I'll see you again soon.